Attention, the following broadcast has been approved by Outcasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Outcasted OC, here with a different lineup for you today because we're discussing something very special that is close to my heart, seeing as I cover it every single week, and both of my main guys here's hearts. We are discussing NXT Halloween Havoc, a pay-per-view that's been going on since the mid-80s, but NXT has kind of adopted it as its own in WWE, and we've got some great matches coming up this week. I can't wait for it. Guys, before we get into it, how are you doing? How's it been this week for you?
Really good. Wow. Yeah. I say really good. It's same every week, but yeah. I had a really good last weekend. I was at Royal Quest, so that was a lot of fun.
Nice one. Good. Special shout out to Morgan for joining us today, dude. How's it going with you?
Thank you very much for having me. Again, as me, I had a good week. Can't complain. I'm really glad to be back here as well. It's been too long. We need to do this more often.
Mood.
But it is good. It is good to be here with you guys.
Hell yeah. Nice one. Well, I'm glad you both had a good week. I reviewed NXT yesterday. And as much as I'm excited for this pay-per-view coming from the weekend, I was very underwhelmed with what happened on this week's episode of NXT, but it's as expected. It's a go-home show. They can't really book anything just because they're waiting for the pay-per-views to get out of the way. We got some confirmations of a certain match that I'm going to be coming up to in just a moment. But I'm going to start with the Women's North American Championship match, the lineup that closed the show from NXT last night. We saw the debut of Delta or Zarya, whatever you see. But before that, we had a spin of the wheel, and it ended up landing on Spinner's Choice. So Fatal Influence get to decide the stipulations and the rules for this match. So obviously we're going to be getting Kalani Jordan defending a Women's North American Championship against, well, we don't know what she's going to be defending it against. It could be a handicap match. It could be a one-on-one match. It could be a fatal four-way. But I'm going to go to Ross first. What do you think is going to happen in this match?
I think it's going to be a handicap match where it's going to be a 3v1, and then I think Zarya is going to come in clutch and kind of even the odds. It'll probably be like a no DQ like situation with the 3v1 handicap. They'll make it a no DQ so they can do weapons and choose to Kalani. And as I said, Zarya will come out and help in that situation. Hence why I think they teased her the way they did. But then I think it'll end up being an angle because Zarya is now helped. She'll be like, cool, I helped you. Now I want an opportunity at the belt. That's how I see they're going to go that way about it.
I can appreciate that. Yeah, so you would throw Zarya straight into the women's mid card at the moment. I was talking about this in the review. The upper card and like the main event of the women's division at the minute in NXT is so stacked. I feel like it's time for certain women to move up into Raw or SmackDown so we can make way for a couple more talents at the top of that card. So I agree. I think it's a good idea to put Zarya maybe into the Women's North American Championship picture. But Morgan, what do you think?
I think it will be a 3-on-1 handicap, but I think it'll be done in gauntlet style. So she has to run the gauntlet to go through them.
Oh, I like that. That's
so
cool.
That way you can start with Jasmine, survive Jasmine. You bring in Fallon. Fallon's the competition in that one. And then you have JC at the end of it, just kind of pick the bones or try to pick the bones. And that's where Zarya makes the save in that situation.
I could see that happening 100%. I've got a question for you guys. I think I already know the answer because you both pitched similar endings. Do you think we're going to see a title change in this match? Morgan, I'll go with you first.
Potentially. I think Zarya thing is there as like potentially a red herring. In regards to like she's there to make the save, but I don't think she might make the save. I think she might still be there to help Cost for a different reason, not to be part of Fatal Influence, but to be part of Kalani's next feud away from the title. So Kalani has a reason to be fired up about why she lost the title.
I like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What about you, Ross? Are you on similar? You got a similar opinion?
No, I actually think that Fallon is going to take it in a last-minute situation where Fallon, for me, I don't know if everyone else picked up that, kind of seemed like she tried to start being more the leader in that situation, especially when she spun the wheel and then was like, look, girls, looks like it's our opportunity before, obviously, the debut happened. I feel like Fallon is kind of now just being like, I'm sick of being kept to the sideline and always being like, what do they say? The Princess Never Bride type of situation. You always get.
Okay, yeah.
She's always in her groups, because obviously we've got to remember she used to be in an original group before all of this. She was kind of the underlooked person of that group for a long time, and I think that's what's happening again. So I think just to shake things up, the inner conflict of them, she'll be like, no, I did it to bring it for the group. At least one of us have won, and then we can all defend it type of thing. But it's going to build tension between Fatal Influence, but it also pushes Fallon up in that situation. That's how I see that.
Okay, but right. So I'm kind of in the middle of like for this, like what both of you guys have said. I do think they'll end up going with a fatal 4-way match. Like if they don't go with the handicap match, I think the most likely is a handicap match. And I think if the only way Kalani's walking out of this situation with the championship is if it becomes one of those situations where all of these three women kind of get in the way of each other, where they go for the pin. And it's like, no, it's my title. Like, I wanted to pin it. Like, what are you doing? I was about to pin her and stuff like that. I think that's one of the only ways that Kalani comes out of this with the championship. But if I'm being honest with you, I do want her to drop the belt. In my opinion, I've watched her every single week, and I don't think she's improved that much, Kalani Jordan, honestly. Since she's won the championship, I don't think she can cut a promo to save a life. I don't think she's very good at backstage segments. It sounds like you're talking to Snapchat AI. I do think she's like quite capable in the ring, but aside from that, I'm not a big Kalani Jordan fan. I think she needs a little bit more work if she's going to be holding a championship. I think there's far more people in that mid card that need that belt, maybe to establish it a little bit more. And I think Fatal Influence need it. I mean, you got people like you said, like Fallon Henley, always a bridesmaid, never the bride. Got JC Jane there, who's come on leaps and bounds since she left Toxic Attraction. So I think it's about time that one of those girls hold the championship. But it's going to be interesting to see if, like you say, Delta or Zarya has any influence in there. Like you say, it'd be nice to get straight into the championship picture. I would quite like to see that, just like you guys said. It's one of those things where, like, why wait around? You've got a stacked women's division there. You might as well get her in the mix. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be one of the matches to watch on the card. I love Spinner's choices. I always think it adds a different dynamic to the card, and it's nice to be unexpected. It's kind of like it's like when you used to watch Cyber Sunday and you never really knew what kind of match you was about to see.
True.
That's how I describe it. Let's move on to a different match. Let's move on to a totally different style. We're going to be going for the ambulance match now. We're getting Andre Chase, the leader of Andre Chase University, taking on Ridge Holland, the big douchebag who ruined Chase University for me. He destroyed all of my boys. He made Thea cry. I wasn't very happy about that. Ridge Holland is a dick. But is he going to be Andre Chase in the ambulance match this weekend? Morgan, what do you think?
I think he should. I think he needs to. I think you can't build somebody up with this level of momentum to have them lose, because then what do you do? Like, Chase, you were there, and they can eat losses just as a faction. They're there. But Ridge is that kind of, especially with a new character, you can't have a new character lose unless you have a plan for him down the road where he becomes more dangerous. But I don't think they have that at this current moment in time. So I'd say Ridge Holland gets the win in this one.
Where do you see Ridge Holland going with this momentum after this? Like, what would you put him into a championship picture? Because I don't think he fits anywhere right now. What do you think?
North American picture fits. A feud with Obafemi, because Obafemi looks like he's going into that transition of a baby face with those Nikita lines. So as much as Ridge isn't bigger than Oba, if he can play smarter than Oba and more devious than Oba, because Oba's whole thing is being powerful. So if he plays devious, that's a feud you can do once Oba's done with the Tony D stuff.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'm gonna bring up a point a little bit later on in another match that you've just said. But I thought that was quite interesting, like the dynamic that you saw with Obafemi and Nikita Lyons. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. What do you think is going to happen in the ambulance match, Ross? Are you excited for this match as well? By the way,
yeah, of course. I'm always interested into seeing how they try and fix a lot of Ridge Holland stuff, because it's nothing against him. Injuries always happen, but people buried him. Not his actual character, his gimmick. People just gave such a hate mob that they were scared to really push Ridge or put him on telly for a long time. And I think it's a very weird position for him to. His newer character had this whole, well, I legitimately injure people, because we've got to remember they did a fake injury angle with Ilya Dragunov, and they're now playing into this, I'm beating the living hell out of Andre Chase. I think to build the momentum of Ridge even more, especially with an ambulance match situation, you'd make it look like he legitimately hurts Andre Chase and places him in that ambulance for good reason. I think that's how it builds it up. That's how I personally think the whole situation should go. But yeah, Andre Chase coming back, it's hype, but as Morgan said, I always see them as a group. I love them to pieces, but they are a group that can eat pins, and people are never going to hate on them. They're never going to just sour on them taking losses, because they are very much your underdog group that, yes, we constantly are down on our luck, but that's why you want to root for them every time.
And that's it. You always have those moments where they have moments where they are higher up. So like they won the tag titles, and it's like,
yeah,
satisfying. And then it's the comeback down again. So it's again them always climbing. And the thing is, with something like Chase U, you can always change the roster around.
Yeah, because of it being called a university, you can easily swap them in and out.
Yeah,
I would like to say, ever since this whole thing with Andre Chase University, it got me interested in Ridge Holland. I was kind of over Ridge Holland in NXT, because he came back. They did that whole thing with Ilya Dragunov, and then they were doing these stupid things every week where it was like, oh no, like Cruz del Toro was stood there and you shut the door on him, and it's like, oh yeah, we get it, yeah, he injures people, and I was like, okay, I don't like, this is so stupid. Like NXT stupid, it was funny, okay, it was funny, like, but that wasn't the point. You were trying to like tell a story, but it was NXT. I love NXT. I don't ever hate things that NXT does just because I think it's NXT, but once the whole Andre Chase story started, where he joined the university, he was trying to redeem himself. He was getting along. He convinced Riley and Duke that he was trustworthy, and he was, he was using favors to get them into tag team championship situations. He got Thea another women's title shot against Roxanne. Good match, by the way. And then they actually won the championships. And then they lost, and then Ridge lost his mind. I'm interested in it, and I'll tell you why. Ridge is cutting some great promos lately. Those like little backstage vignettes it's been going on for the past couple of weeks, where he's like tearing down Chase U. I'm enjoying them. I think he's doing quite well. So I'm inclined to agree. As much as I hate to admit it, I do think Andre Chase is taking the L in this match. I think it makes sense. Like you say, with Chase U, like no matter what, they're still going to get the Chase U chance the next week on NXT. There's always something new for them to tackle because there's so many of them and there's so many different directions you can go with there. If I'm honest, wouldn't mind them coming up to the main roster eventually. I love Chase U. I think they do quite well on SmackDown. But Ridge Holland needs this. Like, it's just a fact. He just needs this more than Andre Chase and more than Chase University. So I can see that. I can see the reasons why people want Ridge to win. Like Morgan was saying, I could see him in the North American Championship scene, but it's difficult where to place Ridge Holland at the moment, because that NXT division is stacked. It really is stacked with different areas. Like you've got the Heritage Cup scene, which like there's a load of people who like want to go after that. You got the North American Championship scene, which there's a fair few people in that mid card who I could see going for it. And then obviously the main event. The main event's looking a bit bare at the moment, but I don't think that's going to be lasting very long. So, but I also don't see Ridge Holland entering that scenario right yet. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Let's go to the other match that I was about to allude to because Morgan brought up an interesting point I want to discuss. Let's go to the tables, ladders, and scares match. Ooh, it's Halloween, so it has to be spooky. We got Tony D'Angelo defending his North American Championship against the former longest reigning North American champion of all time, the ruler of NXT, Obafemi. Ross, who have you got and why?
I love how you do that while I was eating a cookie. You had to land it on me that time.
Well, it was going to be you, wasn't it? I asked Morgan last time. You got to be prepared, my guy. Come on. That's just the way. That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
God's sake. I saw the opposite of what Morgan saw. I didn't take it as Oba going babyface. I took it as Oba's still heel. I took it as Nikita Lyons is aligning herself with a heel Obafemi and believing in taking power into your own hand is how she is going with that, especially with the promos she cut and the way they interacted with each other. It sounds like she's done a favor to help out Obafemi with the match coming up. I don't know if that was to attack the I can't remember the female's name that's in Tony D'Angelo's group. Rizzo. I don't know if that's Nikita's took out Rizzo or she's got involved in a way to make the numbers against Tony D'Angelo, especially with this table ladder scares thing. It leaves multiple options where people can get involved and do crazy things. But I think there has been some business in the background that has led to Oba potentially getting the belt back is the interesting point. But I think Tony's going to retain. I think Oba is strong enough and good enough to go to the main event scene. I think he just needs to have this feud finish and then he can go for the main title.
I like that. And I'm glad you had an opinion on that as well, because that's what I was going to bring up. I think that was interesting, the side that you saw of it, Morgan. The way I looked at it was, you saw Oba take out pretty much all of the male members of the Tony D family. And then he went Nikita to take out Rizzo, so like all of his friends are gone. I wouldn't mind seeing a little, maybe a little Oba faction. I think he's great by himself, but Nikita's doing nothing right now. He's the ruler of NXT. She can be the lion. I think it'd be dope. I don't know who else you would get in that group at the moment.
If you're thinking about it, you could use the two guys that Nikita was talking to about taking your opportunity, and then you've got
Tyreek. Yeah, Tyreek and wherever his other name. Yeah.
That's three big boys.
Yeah, that's powerhouses there.
Yeah, you got a single star, you got a women's single star, and you got a tag team. I like that. Call himself. I was going to say he's call himself the Kingdom, but like that's a bit close to another faction.
yeah, you can't do that.
That's the Pride, yeah.
Yeah. Ah, there we go. Yeah.
You could just call them royalty.
You call it. Do you know what? Call them the Pride. Screw it. None of them are even there anymore. Stupid, like Bobby Lashley left, and now the Street Profits are just the Street Profits, and it annoys me that that's not a thing anymore. So you might as well just reuse that name. Morgan, who have you got in this match and why?
I have Tony D, but I think like obviously everybody's been taken out. So it means Tony D's on the back foot, but we're seeing how he comes back from being on the back foot. We saw it in the Heritage Cup matches. There's a man who knows how to do it, and we always see that like the family always comes back together at those points. So I feel like you're seeing the family again appear in those moments to help him retain, even if they'll like hold Oba down or do everything they can to take Oba out. Big team, family effort. Thank you very much. Tony retains on to the next one.
I'm inclined to agree, definitely. I like the fact that people make a big deal like Obafemi's massive compared to Tony D. In the last couple of matches, even the one that Tony lost, Tony was throwing him around. He was manhandling him. Tony D is known for like lifting up and absolutely suplexing the crap out of like bigger men. Like he's very powerful. He's like his whole moveset is like super It's offensive, like it's getting the momentum up. It's fast, and it like combined with the power, like with the spine busters that he does, with the belly to bellies that he does. I love Tony D's moveset, especially when it's on a bigger guy like Obafemi.
I was gonna say it's just that's natural wrestling storytelling. Is the bigger guy is usually the heel in that feud, and you're rooting for the underdog. That's the smaller guy because you relate to how the hell is this guy going to come out and defeat this big giant monster of like a being. It's like I never get the argument of I don't get how the smaller guy is going to win. That's the fun of it. That's the enjoyment of the storytelling in the ring. It's this guy has got to do that extra work, so you want to root for the guy putting in the extra graft to beat someone heavier than him.
I'll tell you what I love, and it's just the fact that for the past year now, a crime family who has been documented like to be unaliving people on NXT TV are the baby faces in every storyline for the past 12 months. I love it. Only in NXT. That's all I can say. Only in NXT.
The family.
Forget about it.
You'll be sleeping with the fishies.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? And then they go to the restaurant and have spaghetti. But my main point about this is, and like this is the reason why I don't want Oba to win and why I don't think he's going to win. And it's just for the simple fact that he doesn't need the North American Championship anymore. He doesn't need it. And if anything, Oba could step onto the main roster now and I'd be all right with it. I don't think that's going to happen, but I would be fine with it. I would more like him to move up into the main event scene.
Yeah,
go after the NXT Championship.
I think
I would have him
for a bit.
I would have him win the Iron Survivor Challenge. I would then have him face Trick Williams at Vengeance Day, whatever the very first pay-per-view is of the next year is. I don't know if I'd want him to beat Trick Williams, but I suppose with the momentum that Obafemi would need, you would have him beat Trick Williams. Because again, Trick Williams is another guy who just doesn't need to be there anymore. But Obafemi does. And he needs to rule NXT for a while before he comes up to the main roster, because that main roster is too stacked for Obafemi right now. So I'm going to go with Tony D retaining the North American Championship as well. Will there be shenanigans? Of course there will be. It's a ladder match, for God's sake. Like, there's going to be something involved. Obafemi is going to fly through the air into a table probably, and it'll look cool because he's massive. But yeah, I just think it's going to look absolutely great when that happens. Let's move on to because I want to talk about the NXT Championship last, because it should be the main event because it's for the title. But let's move on to the women's tag team match. A match that, if I'm being honest with you, I am least looking forward to. I'm not too bothered. It's a tag team match. We got the team of Stephanie Bacor and Julia taking on the team of the returning Cora Jade and the NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez. Morgan, who have you got and why?
I can't call this one. Like, realistically, you want neither team losing in this situation. It's a returning Cora Jade. It's Julia and Stephanie Bacor, and you've already had Julia lose a big match. So do you want her to do it again? It's Roxanne who's your champ. This is a very tough match to call. I'm going to go with like Julia and Stephanie Bacor, but I really want like Cora to win this one. I feel like that's where the storyline and that's where your momentum is, because you can then just do Julia versus Bacor. That's a better one that you can tell.
Yeah.
International friends who internationals from the thing where they became enemies, rivals, became friends, got here, and now they can fight on a bigger stage to go for the title.
I love that. And to be honest, that's all I'm thinking. Whenever I look at them on screen, I just think, I don't want you to be teaming up. I just want you fighting. Ross, what do you reckon?
So they've never been a team, and they've never been friends. I don't get where NXT decided to sit down and be like, oh, they both got signed at the same time. Let's make them friendships. They beat the ever-living crap out of each other in New Japan and like in Stardom.
I think they're talking more backstage, like on a personal level. I don't think.
Yeah, but like even then, storyline-wise in kayfabe, we're not dumb. We've seen them beat the living hell out of each other, and we're now like, my greater enemies are now my allies. I think there's been a bigger story in the background that we only just got teased this week. The fact of Julia smiled at both Io and Kyrie. Sorry, not sorry. I think Io and Kyrie are going to get involved, and that's what's going to cost it. I think Cora and Roxanne are still going to win this match. But I think the whole reason is that literally Io and Kyrie are going to come help Julia. Stephanie's going to get distracted by this. Steph will eat the pin because Julia ate the last pin. So I think Stephanie Van Court eats this one. And then that makes the feud between Julia and Stephanie being like, you never told me the game plan. This is what cost us.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't mind that. By the way, I mentioned this on my NXT review this week. The fact that we saw Damage Control square up to Stephanie and Julia, like, take my money, please. I'd like that tag team match. I don't understand why they ever got rid of the women's tag team championships on NXT. Like that tag team division has so much more depth than the main roster, which is hilarious.
We've made this argument multiple times. I don't get why they decided when freaking Ronda Rousey and freaking Shayna won it, I don't get why they decided to merge the belts, which means, cool, it's a tag team that should be going across all three brands now because they've merged the belts, technically. When have we ever really saw it be defended on NXT since that merge?
I think maybe twice. I think maybe twice in a year.
I think that's more the issue, the fact that we haven't seen it defended. Like, I think we've only just seen them start appearing now. We've only started seeing NXT, like, with the Meta Girls going up to the main roster for a run to have that kind of thing. And now we're having, like, Piper and Chelsea come down. So now the crossover is happening at last. It just feels like it should have happened sooner. But I feel like there's now depth of character in all three divisions. So you've got Damage Control and Black Girl Magic holding it down on Raw. You've got Piper and Chelsea holding it on SmackDown with everything else with, like, Tiffy and Nia. That's some character stuff going on there.
Bailey and Naomi as well. They've been constantly in a tag team. That would be interesting to see them. Yeah, Liv and Raquel as well. Yeah,
and then you've got the NXT. So now there's a depth of division. So it's finally there. And, like, we didn't have, if we think about it last year, we didn't really have the same level of characters in regards to the NXT division. That's why it was so shallow. It's only we started getting that depth now again. So for it to all be across over the board, it kind of makes sense. So yeah, everybody can go across the way, and we're seeing it. And it's beneficial.
I'm liking that. Just because of the vignettes alone, I think this is where we're going to be seeing Zarya. Because
that's where you're putting her.
Yeah. I don't think it necessarily means that she's going to be going after the women's championship immediately. I wouldn't mind that. Don't get me wrong. But the vignettes are, like, they have put a lot into her character coming in. Like, the vignettes show her, like, fighting in this wasteland with, like, a load of people. She looks at a tower and it says NXT on the top. Then in the next vignette, she's at the top of the tower and she knocks down the NXT signal. I was like, so I took that as, like, she's going for the top and she's taking down the organization, that kind of way.
Possibly.
So what better way to take down, like, the big players, the pillars at the minute in the NXT women's division is to interfere in the main event women's match.
I like that.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know what she's going to do, but that's where I would put her.
But the last one was her punching a sign saying Halloween Havoc, and that looked to me like it was on a lower ground. So why would you not take out the core or the foundation in its purest form? That foundation is currently being built upon, like, your Kalanis and all of that kind of thing as they're coming up. Like, they're holding it in place until their time is to come up. So why not just knock out the core of your younger talent and then just be like, there's nobody left. I'm now going for everybody else.
I agree with that thinking. It's just, for me, the placement of her being at the end of NXT there, the fact that she, like I say, the vignettes kind of make her out to be a big deal. And I totally understand, like, the like going onto the mid card. I mean, you might be right. I'm just, like, fantasy booking here. The fact that I wouldn't mind seeing her jumping in there and messing with the like the big players immediately.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it makes sense for her to be in that position as well.
Because at the end of the day, like you've got Julia and Stephanie there. Either them two stay as a tag team or they start fighting each other. You got Roxanne Perez who needs to defend her championship straight away against somebody. It doesn't look like it's going to be Cora Jade immediately because them two are mates right now. So one of those two needs to be doing something. You might as well throw Zarya in there, like maybe Cora Jade versus Zarya. Like, do you know what I mean? I understand that Cora Jade is only just returned, but she's another one, like I've just said, like Obafemi and Trick Williams especially. Like, aside from the injuries, Cora doesn't really need to be down there anymore. She can take some losses, and then she can move up to the main roster in a couple of months, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see Cora going up in the next little while.
Yeah,
I can see Roxanne going.
I think
they were teasing it like last year, so I think this would be the full kind of takeover.
Yeah,
me, her and Natalia are in a best of 7 matches where they can just straight wrestle, and I am done. I am fine.
I'm here for that. I'm here for that. That would be fun.
So I'm sat here today still saying, and I said this on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, I've never been a huge Roxanne Perez fan. I've always thought she wasn't ready for the position that she was put in. But over the past 6 months, she's won me over with the matches that she's had. And again, sat here today, I think the women's match of the year still is Roxanne versus Julia for the women's championship. I thought it was a very, very good match. I thought it was solid. Like the ending was obviously kerfuffled because Cora Jade got involved. But as in terms of a dance partner in that ring, them two put on an absolute clinic. It was beautiful to watch them wrestle. And no offense, like sometimes in women's wrestling, you don't get that because they're not given the time. Nothing to do with the women, but they're not given the time to craft something that good. But they were given the time, and it was a very, very nice match to watch. So I can totally see like Roxanne Perez just being anywhere on the roster at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to give the match like winning wise. I just realized I didn't give my opinion who's going to win. I think it's probably going to be Roxanne and Cora. Like I said, I think there's going to be some interference from Zarya, or there's going to be some like miscommunication, or there's going to be some interference from Fatal Influence. There's going to be some kind of shenanigans that's going to cost Julia and Stephanie the match. Like you said, Cora's just come back. Roxanne Perez, she's the heel champ. She needs a bit of momentum heading into Deadline, which I think maybe is where she's probably might lose the championship. So I think this is the night where she wins still.
Valid. Yeah.
You just look very unsure with what I just said.
No.
I'm just trying to I have that Iron Survivor match in my head, and like the women's one's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Vakir, Zarya, Julia.
That's what I was like. That's what I'm trying to thought process is like the fact of like, as we said, the males, main roster situation. Well, like not main roster, sorry. Main event scene in NXT feels very bare bones, whereas this time the women's one feels so damn stacked with all the names we've got going there. Adding Zarya, I would love that. I'd get her in straight away. I think that's some absolute contender to be in that spot. But I don't want her feeling rushed into that situation, being like, oh no, the placement of her there is a bit too quick. Because I would, like Morgan said, I think the angle they're going with, she's going to go for the foundation. And what she's going to do from that point is, you know how you said she was at the top of the tower of NXT? I think she's going to take that new belt that is still being formed, being that foundation, and she's going to make that the talk about belt. She's going to be the top of the tower with the US title and making that her new thing. Like, I'm the new thing you need to go for. Forget the main title. I've made this title more the president. Like how Oba did, holding it as long as he did. He made that US title so much more relevant than the actual main event belt at that time, because when you were watching NXT, people weren't like, oh, I want to know what's going on in the main event scene. They were like, oh, how's Oba doing with the belt? That was the main conversation piece. And that's how I think they could do that with Zarya.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm happy with either. Like, if you put her in the main event, or if you start her in the North American Championship scene, I'm happy with either. Just while we're talking about the women right now, I believe there's 5 people who are in the Iron Survivor Challenge. Am I right?
Yeah.
It's 5.
Yeah, it's always 5. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start with you, Ross. Give me the 5 women who you're putting in the Iron Survivor match this year.
Really? Jesus.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got my 5.
Okay. Julia, Stephanie, Zarya, because I just want all 3 of them. Nikita Lyons, I really want her to shine again because she's had a lot of time off, and I think she was one of the more interesting ones in the ring because I liked how she had the kind of martial art background style to it. And I've got to give it Cora Jade. I think same situation. You want more of Cora Jade on your TV because she's been away for so long, and I think her kind of attitude to everyone would be like, right, you all go fight each other. I'll deal with you once you're all fucked off and out of gas. That's when I'll sneak in and get everyone.
Okay, I like that. I like that. To be honest, I can't actually probably see that happening. I'm not gonna lie.
Other fantasy booking, because they're still doing TNA collaborations. Please throw me Jordan Grace in that team, like in that situation. If
You
that
never
was
know.
allowed, give me like, I'm sorry, just in that ring alone, get Stephanie, Julia, Zarya, and Jordan Grace in the ring. I'm good. Like, that's perfect.
Another potential match of the year candidate there. Morgan, what about you?
So, if we're keeping it to NXT only, it is Stephanie, Delta, Zarya, Nikita, Lola Vice.
Oh, okay. That was honorable mention for me, so I'm glad you've got that kind of same thought.
And Jada Parker.
Oh, interesting you picked Parker. Okay.
Because when you have upstart, you have the upstart, you have the person who's making the name for themselves, and you have the established names. But also, we've seen how hard all of them hit. That's gonna be meaty.
Yeah, it will. It will. I had a combined answer. Like, to be honest with you, compared like with you both. Obviously, you're going to say, Julia, Steph, and Zarya. My other two. I mean, I feel like you need an athletic person in there, so I was going to say Sol Ruka.
Hell yeah! I'll take a Sol Ruka in that. Man.
I would quite like to see a Soul Snatcher off one of those pods. That would be pretty dope. And then I would quite like for the final person. It's got to be like Cora Jade. I think it has to be Cora Jade. Like, you're gonna put her in that. You're gonna bring her back. You got to put her in that situation. To be honest with you, I think it's either gonna be Cora Jade or Jada Parker. Because they're pushing Jada Parker quite hard at the moment. Don't think Lola Vice has the momentum yet to go into deadline. I know we've got a month, but Jada Parker's had the momentum for like half a year. So I think Jada Parker could be slipped into that deadline match and no one would bat an eye at it. So, like, that'd be me. Before we get on to the main event, guys, do you know what? We might as well. I'm going to ask you the same question. I'm going to go to Morgan first. Who are you putting in the men's Iron Survivor Challenge?
Ethan Page, Javon Evans, Wesley, Obafemi, Rich Holland.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to lie. You nearly have my lineup there. Nearly. So let's see what Ross has got to say.
Mine has to involve TNA in this one. I'm sorry. I just have to.
You're Joe Hendry on that there.
No. Wesley. Oh, okay. Wesley, Zachary Wentz.
Okay.
Pete Dunne, Rich Holland, and then Ethan Page.
Right. Okay. I like the Pete Dunne insert there. Like, actually,
because of how Pete Dunne has came in and interacted with NXT, and I think there'll be that kind of will they, won't they, with Ridge and Pete looking at each other to being like, do we still respect each other? Do we help each other? And then they'll look at each other and go, nah, forget this. We still hate each other. Go to war. Same with Wesley and Zachary Wentz. I think they're still not done. I think they've still got so much more for their feud that would feed families if you just let them go wild in that match. And I just love Ethan Page. I think Ethan Page is top tier in NXT right now. So put him in more matches. Simple as.
Dude, his promo was phenomenal this week. Like, very good.
Did you see the song? Please tell me you saw the song he did.
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. So on social media, he's done a rap song to call Trick Williams back out.
What? I didn't know this.
Yeah. Dude, it's the funniest. Hold on.
You'll have to send me the link to it, and I'll watch it after this video.
I'm gonna pull it up for you so I can send.
I think it's a case of when it came to my match, it established all the guys who have currently now been around that upper mid card kind of placing. So you put Rich in there after he wins the ambulance match. Wes has been holding around after the Zachary match. Ethan needs to be in that main event scene, especially to play spoiler to a lot of people. Javon and Randy, after a couple of weeks ago, was great bar the finish.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those. Oba can just go in there and literally throw people. He's just doing F20s to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's it. So everybody else is getting all of these wins here, there, and everywhere. And Oba's just like, no. That last 5 minutes is a sprint for him to massacre people.
Someone described him, Obafemi. I believe it was Tom Campbell on Cultaholic, who described when Obafemi goes up to the main roster, it needs to be like the ending of Infinity War, where Thanos comes out of the portal and then everyone's just throwing themselves at Oba, and he's just like, "Bye, see you later,
boom,
in a bit."
Boom.
Literally, it's that meme where the guy's just slapping people, and it's him. That's all he's doing, just to the roster.
Yeah.
See, my always takeaway from Obafemi is, if you know your Dragon Ball, he gives me like proper Broly energy, where it's like Goku and Vegeta are at normal, like just punching at Broly, and Broly's like, cool. They go Super Saiyan, and they're like still punching at him, and Broly's still in normal form. Like, that all you got? Like, not moving, nothing, just taking the punches. Like, yep, cool. That's how I see Oba. It's just he's got that Broly energy. If I grab you once, you're flying.
It's easily you can sit there and go, Oba versus Bronson, Oba versus Gunnar, Oba versus Priest. It's a heavyweight boy. If you just put him on Raw, that's a big boy in big boy season.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? You don't even need to give him the championship straight away. You just need to have him destroying people. I mean, I hate to bring him up. Just have him be like Ryback for like 8 months. Just destroying people. Or like Braun Strowman when he first happened.
Just let him and Bronson do that feud that Bronson's been doing with everybody. Like, there's no title. It's just big.
Yeah. It's just meat planets.
Him versus Braun Strowman would be another one where it's like, yo, just give them big meaty men feud. That's all you need to do. Just, you've got such big heavyweight guys now. Make them go to work with the big heavyweight.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it makes sense for him to be in there with the big boys, because at the moment he looks too big for NXT.
He does. And do you know what? I wouldn't even be mad if they gave him the NXT treatment on the main roster. Have him win the IC title in like his second match or something.
No.
That would be mental.
Literally, just have him there, just bodying people. And if one of them is like Braun, he just bodies him, but he doesn't pay attention to it. So it's not even a thought to him. Like,
yeah.
Care. And Braun's like, nah, what do you think you're doing? He's like, I have no time for you. I've got other things to do. So it's literally chasing him to try and get a match with him in that situation.
Yeah. It would be awesome. It would be unbelievable. Keep him and Bron Breakker away from each other, because I feel like that would be like a WrestleMania match eventually.
No, just have Braun chasing him the whole time until we get to like Rumble, and then he throws him out the Rumble. Like, now you'll pay attention to me, won't you?
Yes, I do like that. Actually, that is a good idea.
Oba's just not paying him attention in any way, shape, or form. Like, every time like Oba does something, a backstage statement, Braun gets disrespected, and eventually Braun is just like, I don't have time for you, and that's how you build it.
Yes, I do like that, actually. Yeah, that's interesting. If we're talking Iron Survivor, for me, Yes, definitely Obafemi is in that match 100%. I agree Ethan Page needs to stay in the main event scene because you brought him in at the top. If he goes anywhere but the top, then he's not considered a star anymore. That's just my opinion. Wesley, yes, definitely put Wesley in there simply just for his high flying shit that he does. Like, I mean, I am interested in his character work, but just put Wesley in there. Javon Evans, in my opinion, 100%. That kid has got a rocket strapped to his ass, and you can tell the company have massive plans for that guy. He has been put in so many high-profile situations in such a short amount of time, and he's delivered on most of the occasions, if not all of them. Yeah, so you make mistakes, fair enough, every now and again. But Javon Evans for me is one of my favorite people in NXT right now. And from a fifth person, see, this is a difficult one because you've got a lot of people who could fill that spot, a hell of a lot of people who could fill that spot. So Rich Holland is a good shout. It really is a good shout, and I can totally see why you would put him in there. But I'm gonna go another way, and maybe put like a Noam Dar in there.
That'd be good if he's back.
Yeah, if he's back in time, I kind of want to see Noam Dar there, like because he did some great work with the Heritage Cup. I want to see him in the main event. I want to see the Metaphor move up to the main event scene. I like the Metaphor. I like them as a group. I think Noam Dar can carry them with the mic skills. Obviously, you see what Jakara and Lash have been doing lately. Aura Mensa is great in the ring, and I think he's quite underrated on the microphone, in my opinion, as well. I think Metaphor would do a great job in the main event scene. So yeah, give me Noam Dar in the Iron Survivor Challenge.
That is a shout.
Yeah, I'm here for that. I think that one's a good shout for sure.
Hell yeah. Right. And we've discussed what's the men's Iron Survivor. Let's talk about what the prize for the Iron Survivor is, and that is the NXT Championship match for Halloween Havoc. We have got All Ego Ethan Page trying to reclaim his NXT Championship against the champion Trick Willie, baby. Whoop that Trick Williams. Ross, who have you got and why?
Ethan Page.
Wow. Okay. Why?
Trick Williams doesn't need to be in NXT anymore. He doesn't need the belt anymore. He's outgrown it. He is so over right now. You put him on main roster with the same whoop that Trick. You build a feud with potentially a Carmella Hayes being like, we still ain't finished our business. Or you put him into Raw and you insert him into some more of the mid-card situation. Him versus Bron Breakker, we never really got to see in NXT. I think that would be a lot better. And I feel like Ethan kind of paved the way for the new NXT, especially with it being on CW now. I think a newer character and especially a heel, like how Ethan is, the belt fits his gimmick of I'm an egotistical asshole. So what's the best way to pay an ego? Give him the title that comes with an ego.
Okay.
That's me.
I like that train of thought. So would you move Trick Williams up to the main roster immediately, or would there be a bit of a time delay?
I think I'd give it in the best way of saying it, and I don't mean it offensively, I think give him time away from TV, make the heart grow fonder of it, give him a little bit of time away, and then the pop will be huge to be like, oh my God, he's rocked up, he's here. I think a really interesting spot you would put in him is with what's going on with this US title situation. I think give that opportunity where Carmella Hayes gets a rematch against LA Knight if he loses again, and then Trick is the distraction or something like that. The pop would be huge in that level of just, they're potentially kindling that friendship, or, Trick didn't forget. Trick still wants to make Hayes suffer like how he did.
Do you know what? Right. Don't take this the wrong way. I like the idea, but I would pay money to never see Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes in a ring ever again.
Yeah,
for the amount.
I know they didn't book the feuds great. I know.
No. That's not even the problem. The feud was great. the matches were awful. Like I don't know. Like it was weird. It was so weird. Sometimes you just get two people that don't have good chemistry together. Like separately, Trick Williams had great matches with Ilya Dragunov. Separately, Carmelo Hayes had great matches with Ilya Dragunov with a load of different other people. But for like best friends who probably know each other in and out because they travel together, them two have no chemistry in the ring. Like those matches were boring, so boring, and I don't know why they were. I can't put my finger on why. They just didn't click for me, and I don't really understand why.
They went too long.
Some of them, I don't think the cage match went very long, though, right? Wasn't the cage match only like 12 minutes long?
But that's too long for them in that situation. That should have been a sprint because both of them are sprint athletes. They're not methodical wrestlers. They shouldn't have been booked in a steel cage unless you're doing every smoke and mirror under the sun.
Yeah. The reason why I say I kind of want them back in the ring together is I want that redemption factor of on a bigger stage, on a main roster. We haven't seen the feud in a main roster angle. Let's see if they can make it work better in that ring. They've had time away from each other. Maybe they've both had time to like heal that, like make their craft better. I'm just a person who likes to see redemption, and I like seeing feuds be brought back to the main roster when they're not really remembered in NXT. There's like several feuds NXT had when some of the NXT guys were called up. They were like, oh, it's the first time they're wrestling in the ring. I'm like, it's technically not, but I'm here for this.
Yeah. No, I understand what you mean. Morgan, who have you got for the main event?
Ethan Page.
Yeah, let's fucking go, Ethan gang.
In the opposite direction to Ross, drop Trick down the card.
You don't like Trick Williams?
It's not the fact I don't like him. I think he's just very much substance and not steak at the moment. I think he's fantastic as a character.
Yeah. Okay.
But in that situation, he doesn't have like an LA Knight level of ring IQ, which is going to get exposed on the main roster. And that's if you want to protect Trick as a talent, have him have a few more months in NXT where he's lower down the card, and then has to fight up, and then maybe say like Royal Rumble season, you put him in the Rumble, and that's your introduction of him.
Not a bad shout.
It's funny that you say that. I was literally about to ask both of you, like, would you be willing to wait long enough for him to debut in the Rumble? Because that's where I would bring him out. I think that's where he would get a good pop. And if we're going to do a Mello interaction, I think it'd be quite cool if Mello was in the ring by himself, or Mello came out at number 1 and Trick was number 2. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, stuff like that, I'd be fine with. Yeah,
I would tend to agree with Morgan. I do think I love Trick. I think he's fantastic. I think he has the presence. I think he has the charisma, and I do think he has that it factor to be a star one day, a massive star one day. But when he does have matches, like I say, he has great dance partners sometimes in Ilya Dragunov. I mean, it'd be hard to not have a good match with Ilya Dragunov, to be honest. But he does tend to underwhelm me sometimes in the ring with people. And I think it's because he lacks the depth of a moveset. It feels like I'm always waiting for him to hit that flash knee. Yeah. And for the life of me, I couldn't tell you another Trick Williams move.
The book,
you know what I mean?
The axe kick.
Okay, fair enough. Like I totally forgot about them, but they're not even his moves. They're Booker T's moves.
He has a flying clothesline. He has his pop-up knockout punch. So he has stuff, but it's the case of like, I also do feel there's a level of underwhelming. I feel like
they just don't.
A match for me is like when he faced Cedric, and I was like, okay,
yes.
And then it happened, and I went, okay.
Honestly, I think it also happens when he faces Ethan Page. I thought the match that they originally had was underwhelming. I think, if I'm honest, if I'm being harsh, I thought it was crap. I thought the fatal 4-way or 5-way that happened, I think that was good, but not because Trick Williams was in the match. I thought the star of that match was Javon Evans. I thought he absolutely destroyed everyone in terms of like moveset. like spots, unbelievable from Javon Evans, a guy who is like 20 years old.
I think even Sean Spears in that match absolutely helped carry that match, and I was just like,
Agree.
Sean Spears, when does he not though? Like, let's be.
But like in that situation, it's one of those.
Oh
like,
yeah,
underappreciated.
Yes,
Basically,
I agree.
Foundation, yeah.
Funny,
like, you got a solid hand in there, like keeping it keeping it afloat.
Funny.
I will never forget Javon, because I've never seen anyone do this. I'll never forget, like, Javon Evans like does kind of the Montez Ford, jumps over the ring post, but he's able to like land on the barricade into like a load of people. I was like, I've never seen anyone jump that far. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That kid is bouncy. Like, he just is. I don't know else what you want to say about the young OG.
I swear there was one that he did in DPW where he jumps the whole actual ring to where their barriers are, hooks himself on the barrier with his hands to land like a drop kick after as well. Like he does like a frog splash after it. I'm just like, how are you going to fly to then realize you've landed in a good spot, hook the bar, and just drop a kick? Mate, if I'm flying that far, I'm just like, I hope someone catches me. That's it.
Yeah, for real. Like the guy's like he does like the LWO spot, but just by himself.
Yeah, yeah, literally.
It's unbelievable. But yeah, like I'm probably going to say, if I'm honest, I agree that I think it should be Ethan Page that wins this match. But I don't know if they're going to take the title off Trick Williams that quickly. I think they should. At the minute, I don't think he really needs to be champion at the moment, but I don't know if they are. So I'm going to say Ethan Page, but I think it might be Trick who holds on to the championship until maybe Deadline. But I would quite like it to be Ethan Page who walks out with this championship, because I think he's more suited to the new NXT. Like you say, Trick Williams needs a little bit more work. And as a whole, I think it does him good in the long run, because, like you said, he could go to the main roster and be an absolute star. I think we all think know he has the potential to do so.
Yeah,
definitely. We got any final thoughts? Halloween Havoc, guys.
I'm just excited for the show, and it's nice that it's on. I'm pretty sure it's Saturday night.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. It's nice to have an NXT not be on a Sunday, because I usually end up not being able to watch it until like 2 days after.
Yeah.
So So hopefully I'm gonna try and stay up Saturday to watch it going into Sunday. But I also have training Sunday, so I might just watch it Sunday night.
Okay. Morgan, any final thoughts?
I am excited for it. I think there's a lot of potential for change to happen. Yeah. Especially like with it being on CW, you've got a potential to completely shake up your champion, shake up who stands where in regards to your roster. And yeah, I think that's all the potential that you have. So yeah, I'm excited for a really good product.
Do we think it's going to be better than Bad Blood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
All Bad One match was like Bad Blood was pretty predictable.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I say this, and I think I got one prediction right, but in hindsight, it was predictable.
For me, I don't even think Bad Blood was predictable. I just think Bad Blood was a standard pay-per-view that really underwhelmed because of a lot of mishaps. Like, I feel Raquel's situation really downplayed a lot of that pay-per-view because the ref had to do what the ref had to do. But, like, you not only botched Raquel's return, you botched the match. So everyone was confused on who won, who didn't. And just, once again, you made Judgment Day lose in a situation they should have won.
Listen, the one thing that I'll say about NXT is some matches that go into this, like, to pay-per-views end up delivering, like, no matter what. Like it always seems to happen with NXT. Like, you'll get a match where you're just like, I don't know if I'm excited for that, and then sometimes it's one of the best matches on the card.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. I'm really looking forward to it. Guys, let us know in the comments what match you're most excited for. Are you going to be watching it live, or are you going to be saving it till another day? Maybe, on the Sunday when you've got a little bit more chill time. Let us know in the comments if you're going to be joining any other streams. If anyone's going to be live on Outcast OC, I'm not sure about that yet. I know I'm unfortunately not going to be able to watch it live, but me personally, I've really enjoyed having an NXT predictions episode. I think we need to make this more of a thing because I love NXT. It's my pride and joy. I review it for the channel, and I always love to have Morgan on here. Speaking of Morgan, plug yourself, my guy.
Thank you very much again for having me. Make sure you follow me, Simply Delicious Tour on Instagram or Morgan Blackup on TikTok.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Obviously, you know where to find Ross. He will be in the description alongside Morgan. Make sure you check out the Monday Night Raw review and the NXT review from this week from Outcasted OC. And you're going to be seeing a Friday Night SmackDown review on Saturday morning from either G or Ross. Make sure you go follow us on all of our social media platforms, that being X, Instagram, and TikTok at Outcasted OC. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you never miss a video, and hit the thumbs up button so we know that you're enjoying the content. But for now, guys, have a spooky ass weekend. I'll chat to you later. And pumpkins out, baby. Let's go.